Good morning, everyone. The Invisalign are out, which means the coffee is in. So as of today, it is July 15th, which means we are officially 2 weeks into Camp NaNoWriMo. But the story of how I got to do Camp Nano this year is actually kind of funny because I was not planning on doing NaNoWriMo this July. But about 2 days before it actually started, before July, my best friend called me up and we were FaceTiming, and she said, "You're gonna do Camp Nano with me." I did not do any prep in June. I had basically nothing to go off of, and I agreed because why not? But before Camp Nano had actually started, it was like maybe mid-June, I had it in my head that I wanted to try writing at least 500 words a day, because I did the math, and since I'm writing epic fantasy, I'm estimating the book is going to be about 150,000 words. So if I write 500 words a day, that means I'll finish a first draft in less than a year. And I really like that. I really like the idea of that. So when my best friend called me up and said, "You're gonna do Camp Nano," that was what I made my goal, since, you know, for Camp Nano you get to choose. And it wasn't so much getting the 15,500 words, which would be the word count total if I did 500 words a day. It was making sure that I wrote every day, because that's a routine that I really want to nail down. And I have the rest of the month of July off, so I have the time. I think that's the thing, is getting into a good writing routine and sticking with it. So that was like the experiment that I wanted to try for this month. And so far, it's gone fairly well. I'm actually really surprised at myself at how well I've kept to this. We had huge plans at the beginning of the month. We were going to do a word sprint together every day. That hasn't worked out. I was gonna wake up early every day and write at 9 a.m. That was gonna be my time, but that hasn't happened. I have stuck to the 500 words a day. They're not great words, but I am getting them down. So what are some things that are going well for me this Camp Nano, and what are some things that I would like to improve on? So first off, the fact that I've written every day, I think, is great. I hadn't really drafted anything aside from like my attempt at November's NaNoWriMo, and that didn't go very well. But aside from that, I didn't really have anything drafted for this series. I just had like 2 notebooks full of plans and outlines and world building, but so far as drafting, cat cameo. But so far as drafting, I didn't have really anything. So in this Camp Nano, I have actually gotten over 8,000 words so far, which is great because it's 8,000 more words than I had before. And in forcing myself to write every day, and in forcing myself to draft this story that I hadn't, really worked on, I've also discovered a lot about the story itself and about the characters, which has been pretty helpful because I'm not a discovery writer. I really like to have a plan, and for the chapters that I'm working on, I did have kind of an outline, but so far as things like setting, and so far as things like world building that I was going to introduce in each chapter, I didn't really have any of that down. And one of the chapters, I did a writing sprint. I think it was over 500 words, and the next day, the next writing sprint I did was just rewriting the entire thing in a totally different setting, because setting is something that I think I struggle with, and it's more like, it's just something where things need to take place, but I wanted to try and change the chapter that I had written and focus more on the location and have it make sense for the scene that was playing out. Am I happy with the final product? It's better than it was, so that's good. Let's take a look at my statistics for this Camp Nano. So in the 14 days that I have been drafting, I haven't done my word count for today yet, but in the 14 days that I've been working on this, I have written 8,957 words, almost 9,000 words, which is great. According to the Camp Nano website, I mostly write between 9 p.m. and 10 p.m., totally opposite to what my goal was. I mostly write at home, obviously, and my average word count every day is 639 words, which is 139 more than my goal, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, according to my progress, if I were sticking to only 500 words a day, I'd be at 7,500, and I've got nearly 1,500 more than that, so that's pretty cool. But I would definitely change a few things. So like the drafting that I'm doing, like I said, they're not great words. They're not the best writing that I've ever done. And I haven't finished a single chapter that I've been working on. I've mostly just been bouncing around to different chapters where inspiration strikes. So that's something. I'm gonna have to go back in and write all of the boring parts to all the chapters that I'm working on. So that kind of sucks. I think one thing about Camp NaNo that's really difficult is writing during a writing sprint. Like when I've been writing, I've been doing it on the My Write Club website, and it does like your whole word count and it times each writing sprint. But like, so far as writing outside of a writing sprint, it's really difficult because I do a lot of editing as I write, and I know that if I'm editing things, even if I'm adding stuff, I know the word count isn't going to come up to what it should be. So that's been kind of messing with my head, so I don't want to write outside of a word sprint, but at the same time, like, I know that I really want to work on this story too, so that's kind of been messing with me. So trying to find the balance between like drafting and making sure I do the 500 words a day, but also how can I edit those words at the same time? That's been difficult. And like with last November when I attempted this, I'm noticing all of the world building that I still need to do. Part of my drafts are just like things in all caps that I know that I need to find the proper word for, and I just can't think of it, or I haven't come up with it yet. World building is apparently not my strong suit, which sucks when you're writing. When you're writing epic fantasy, you would want to be good at world building, but it is definitely a muscle that I have to like flex and exercise and get better at because I'm not very good at it right now. But going forward for the rest of Camp NaNo, I think I do want to try to get back on track with drafting in the morning and then hopefully editing in the afternoon. And so I know that I had at least those 500 words in the morning, and then editing, if I go back and delete some of it or if I change some of it, I'll at least know that I had them and that I'm sticking with my goal of writing 500 words a day. Also, it would be nice if I actually finished a chapter during Camp NaNo, because writing little bits of every chapter, I mean, it helps, and just going where my mind goes. I wrote a chapter, or wrote part of a chapter that I wasn't planning on writing because it's a little bit later on in the book, but I was really excited to write it, so I did. Tying it all together, I think, is going to be the really challenging part. And that's something that I want to work on for the rest of this month and for the rest of Camp NaNo. But you guys let me know how your writing is going, how everybody, I'm really curious to see what everybody else's goals were for Camp NaNo and how close you are to sticking to it. But that's all I have, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!